Hello. Hello. Welcome to Movie Review, an offshoot of the Anything Bowl, where we talk about one thing, one single topic. That's the SnackTime intro. Folks, welcome to the Flash Review. Brendan.
Yeah.
Let's just pretend like we haven't had the day of our lives today, because we'll talk about that later. Time.
Yeah.
Folks, this week we had The Flash come out. The Flash, oh my god, infinitely delayed, infinitely whatever. Highest budget I can really think of, with the craziest story behind their main actor in ages.
Yeah, any movie I've seen.
Yes. Brendan.
Yeah.
What did you think of The Flash? What are your... Because we've talked about it a little bit. We went to see it together, but we haven't done like...
You just want me to give an overall feel to it, or do you want me to deep dive?
We'll start with the overall.
I think it was a bit overhyped. I still think it was great. There are things I would change. And the graphics just... The visual effects did not do what it should have done, and I know the director defended it, but I'm not talking about those scenes. I'm talking about the rest of the movie.
Where his head's...
Where his two of them, and in one of them, you could always tell was the wrong one, and if you pay attention closely, the two doubles that they're using for each of them are different guys, because they had the haircut. So when it's young Ezra Miller, the face is longer, and when it's old Ezra Miller, it's squarer.
Shorter. Oh my god.
Yeah. And every time one of them was fake, it was so obvious.
Yeah, so right now The Flash is sitting at a 67 on Rotten Tomatoes and 86 for audience score. The audience score, I'd say, has plummeted. I think it started at like a 75, and then the audience score was like a 95, and it's plummeted in the last couple days. James Gunn has said time and time again that this is like one of the best super movies I've ever seen. This is The Flash is whatever. It's better than The Dark Knight. I've heard that left and right.
It's not.
It's not.
It's not.
I can definitely say it's much better than I expected. I was expecting a hot, garbagey mess for something that's been delayed and basically like cut apart 3 different times.
Let me put it this way. If this was how the DC EU was the entire time, James Gunn wouldn't have needed to come in.
No.
So it definitely is a step up, but
it's much better than 90% of the DCU.
Yeah.
Like Zack Snyder's Justice League and then the BVS Ultimate Cut is what I would say are the best. Oh, and the Suicide Squad. Those 3 are probably the best 3.
Yeah.
And then this can come in maybe like 3rd or 4th, depending on how I'm feeling about BVS.
Batman vs. Superman.
There's so much good, but there's also so much really bad.
Yeah.
Like Batman holds an LMG. We were talking about it the other day.
Yeah.
LMG Batman breaks through a window.
Murders a man with a crate.
Yes, he does. He murders a man with a crate. But then you also have
which is the low point of that movie.
Yes, it is. Yes.
Also, Superman murdering a man in the first 30 seconds after him murdering someone in Man of Steel was like this whole big deal, but just put a man through a wall. Like, I kind of like the dark grittiness of where, like, you don't have to worry about it.
I wish they leaned into it.
Which is really funny because, they're the dark and heavy one, but they make more of a big deal of murder than Marvel does, and they're murdering everybody every 30 seconds.
Everybody. They're destroying the whole universe multiple times.
Yeah. There's something causing... There's a giant in the middle of the ocean that's just, causing mass earthquakes and tidal waves that definitely murdered millions, if not billion people.
Ecosystems and changed the polarity of the Earth as a whole.
And probably the gravity, just like everything.
You've had 6 or 7 movies between it. Not a single person is talking about the big hand.
Or the face.
And then we talk about the face that came through the clouds and was like, I'm going to take you now.
And everyone's just like, don't go on vacation over there.
Guys, look at my goats, man. They're screaming. So funny.
But in The Flash...
This is spoiler heavy, by the way.
Incredibly, if you hadn't noticed.
This is probably where I would say spoiler free ends. Dodd coming back clearly seems like a phoned in performance.
He said it.
He did. You could tell. He doesn't seem like he's having a good time.
Here's one thing I noticed, and I don't know if it's true or just time and she did not age as well as the rest of them. Yeah. The big guy, I don't even think I saw his face in that movie because I don't think they could have gotten him back for the Kryptonian. And then the girl looked different.
CG.
But she was CG?
I think. I have no idea.
So here's my problem. If you look at Man of Steel, those face masks that they have
are much more see-through.
Like helmets, and they're more see-through and whatever. And because these are not, it looked more CG.
Yeah.
And it was a lot more distracting. Also, the other thing that really annoyed me is they were all like super powered and everything, but not one of them had their helmet broken, which is something that needed to happen in Man of Steel.
Yeah, they had to be exposed to the air.
Yeah,
and everything.
And this they're just like, no. Which I guess is technically more comic accurate. Like, whatever. I don't feel like the air needs to deal with it, but
I'm gonna hug my microphone.
As much as I had problems with a lot of those things, there was so much good comic book action.
It was but that's the thing that makes it good.
Yeah.
Right. I if we were talking 1 to 10, I'm giving this movie. I said 9.5 yesterday. It's probably like an 8.5 now. Now that it's sat with me a bit more. The comic book fighting is great. You know, Michael Keaton's CG flipping around. When
He's
Ezra
noticeable,
is with other
but
Ezra,
still really good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When Ezra is with other Ezra and they're just fighting together, it's cool. Supergirl. Her acting was a bit spotty at points in my eyes, but when she's like screaming and she's going to go beat the hell out of fucking Michael Shannon,
Yeah.
perfect. The problem is, outside of the action, everything feels underused. Michael Keaton feels like
a guy.
He feels like
just a guy.
He feels like he's having fun, but then you can kind of feel where the reshoots were.
Kind of like Toby. And like,
exactly. Where he feels, maybe that's the character he's playing, but he feels like he's phoning it in.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have Supergirl, who's cool, but also incredibly underutilized. She's just there to be
because it's the Flash's story, and it kind of built this up as all these characters are going to be very vital, and they were there as supporting characters. And if you're going to bring back Michael Keaton, bring back fucking Michael Keaton. Don't just make him like to sell toys and just be there.
Don't just be like, look, it's Batman from the 80s. You remember? He's here, so you should buy the ticket. And then the one thing that nobody's talking, the two things, right? One good, one bad. Dark Flash. I won't say stupid, but it feels unnecessary. I get that the whole point was like, oh, it's a loop. He's going to go crazy, whatever. You could have just had him become it, or have him just turn and be the villain. You don't need to have a third version of them
who doesn't look anything like them.
Exactly. I get the white hair. You want to show age, but it doesn't look.
It like I don't know if it actually is played by Ezra Miller still, but it looked like a completely different actor.
Completely. And then nobody's talking about Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck is at his peak of Batman in this movie.
No.
Yes, he is.
No.
It's so good.
Okay. For the 5-minute fight scene that honestly, after everything else that happened in that movie, I completely forgot.
I know.
But him as Bruce Wayne sitting on a street corner talking to the Flash about time travel instead of in his private bat cave or his mansion is kind of dumb as hell.
Oh no, I'm not even talking about that scene. That scene.
But that's what I'm talking. Like you're talking about. Like, he's just like, I can bring back your parents and everything, and it's just like you're on a street corner. And you're making a Uber joke. It's just like you could just not have witnesses.
You can tell that was a reshoot during COVID because a bunch of the scenes that weren't like in the volume or behind a green screen were in that alleyway.
And then also the love interest that did not need to be in that movie at all.
Sense.
Had no need.
Iris West, big part in the comics. Why does she need to show up just for the hell of it?
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense.
Didn't need to happen.
But regardless, man, of all the bad things in this movie, the fight scenes just make up for it. Seeing the Flash, and he looks different, right? If you watch the CW, because we watched the first couple seasons, we spoke about it years ago.
Yeah.
It's cool, but you can tell it's like, oh, he's standing there, he's doing a thing, and then when he goes to run, he's in front of a green screen, and he's moving. In this one, the CG was everywhere, so it felt like it blended together a bit better.
And that scene where he couldn't run fast
so funny.
Was so good, because you got to see how everybody else saw him in the studio every time he runs, because to us, it's just like, yeah, that's just how he does it. But like, no, he's actually sitting there just like...
I hate the finger thing. I get that he needs to look different. I get that we've had a different Flash for 8 seasons. I get that. But this, he's moving his hand, it's the Assassin's Creed run, okay? You remember in Assassin's Creed when you do the full sprint and they take out the hidden blades and they're just like...
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of room here to like show off what I'm doing. But that's what it felt like to me. Because his arm is like, he comes all the way up, all the way back. He goes, you're using so much more energy. Maybe that's how he learns to run faster, where someone goes, dude, run like this.
Yeah.
He goes, oh shit, now I can break the sound barrier. Stupid shit.
Yeah, and then like, I saw something online.
Oh no.
Where it was like a YouTube video or something, and I didn't watch it or whatever, and it's just like the controversial baby scene. I'm like, why? There was all CG babies.
It's funny.
It was CG babies.
I understand.
And you put it in a microwave, and the thing dinged, but you know, like...
to be fair.
He cooked that baby, but...
To be fair, I get it, okay? Because it's a very strange choice for them to be like, he's going to save babies, and each baby is in this crazy peril
and
about
to die. And fucking lifeless puppets. And
yeah. Even when she picked up the baby was still CG.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, but at least you're committed to it, so it's not like jarring. But that's what I'm saying. They're like, oh, he's warping time and everything, and so that's why it looks like that. No, but he's not warping time, and she's still holding a fleet of CG rubber babies.
Yes, she is.
But I did like the touch of you're safe now, and just not. Oh, thank you, Flash. Just pure screaming and horror. He's like, I understand this could be jarring.
I put the baby in the microwave.
Which doesn't make any sense. Stupid. But I did appreciate the vomiting later on, how violent it was, because he's like, did you just touch me? Yeah, what?
He was screaming.
Yeah.
He was puking up his lungs.
It was also the panic in his eye, because he knew it was coming before it happened, because everybody else Like, he's done that too.
All of his organs are moving. It's just like, kaboom.
Yeah.
And his body goes.
That would actually probably make them paste.
It would probably.
You would just be dead.
You would. You'd be liquid.
Yeah, it would be like 30 times Earth's gravity.
In an instant.
Yeah, you'd be dead. It's like hitting a brick wall.
Maybe your body would move so quick that your organs wouldn't move as quick. So you're like your skeleton.
Oh, is it like the microwave? So the organs are safe because you're not touching the organs, you're touching the body?
No, I'm saying the organs would come out of the body because the body would move so quick that your organs go.
He also touches his head with the bullet, like the young Flash, like just kind of does like one of these and pulls his head.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, just broken neck immediately. I'm like, how is that okay?
You would do that. The head would come off from
the ear would come off.
No, if
you can't pull an ear at supersonic speed and the ear stays.
It would probably be a situation where the head comes off and the ear is like dangling, but then the head would just like roll like a bowling ball. So anyway, the other big, I guess we'll say controversial thing is when he's in the Speed Force or when he's in time traveling.
It's just a ball.
It's just a ball.
Yeah.
Of CG waves. I think it was inventive.
I think it was cool.
I think it was different. But the CG looked really bad.
And he was like, it's supposed to be. I'm like, yes, but step it up a little bit.
It really bothers me how that's. I don't want to defend keeping Henry Cavill in DC movies anymore because I think it's overplayed at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But I hate that they made it a whole thing to like pan over and be like, look, it's Henry Cavill, Superman.
Yeah.
And then now look, it's everybody. I'm like,
Are we going to talk about everybody else?
Oh yeah, Gal Gadot's in it for a hot second.
No. I'm talking about Nick Cage.
Stupid.
It was amazing, but he was also this weird CG, but they used the actual plot from the leaked script of the original one where he's fighting the giant spider.
A big spider. Ridiculous.
So good.
Listen, and this is a problem, right? Initially, it's a really good idea for fan service because you're all these balls, it's converging, whatever. That's why it's cool. You show Christopher Reeves.
But I feel like they hung on to it a little bit.
They hung on to him too much.
Yeah.
And it would have been cooler if they're like, oh, Michael Keaton's universe, and then Nick Cage shows up. Or you see him like in passing as he's flying by or something.
Which is where this movie also went wrong for me. I'm so tired of the multiverse thing, and I know Marvel's still rolling on that. And this was cool, and I think this did it the best out of all the movies I've seen. Out of the Spider-Man thing, out of all of it, it's
Doctor Strange.
This was the most fun. This was the coolest in my eyes, and it did it the best where it didn't just rely too heavily on the other ones, but it's... Yeah. I think you could have totally just had a universe pass by and showed Nick Cage's face for like 4 frames and had everybody be like, oh, and like, but not be like,
have to linger on him fighting.
It's Nick Cage and he's fighting, and they're like, he's gonna rip things off of his face.
They're like trying to build up to it. They're like, oh, you don't even know who this is.
It's like, we all know who it is, okay?
And the hair is covering his face, and then he gets hit against the wall, and the hair is covering his face.
Same with Bruce when it's I forgot his name.
George Clooney.
No, we'll get there, but no. Michael Keaton. When he's fighting and he's on the thing and it's clearly a stunt double and he's got hair in front of his face for like 5 minutes, I'm like, really?
We knew he was in the movie. Why are we going to wait for this?
Yeah.
You made him a point on all the posters and the trailers and everything. You know what I hate and that I'm tired of? I'm tired of these big movies showing off the biggest and most fun part in the fucking trailer. The only movie I've seen that's been an event in recent years was Endgame, because Endgame didn't show you a single thing from those until after the movie came out. And then they're like, oh, look, here's the part where Cap and Iron Man and Thor, they come together, and they're like, oh, we're going to beat the fuck out of Thanos. And they're walking up to him. That's different. They didn't show anything. In this, you're seeing every trailer is them fighting in this
desert
in the loop
thing.
In the desert.
The desert also looked terrible. It looked like an old... I don't want to say it looked like a PlayStation 2 game because of, like... it looked way better, obviously, but it looked empty, like an old generation game.
Point. It's just the same thing they did with Transformers.
Yeah.
Which I feel like...
It's just barren.
I don't want to say it's still like one of the repercussions of COVID, of still like, oh, we filmed these things clearly in this big room and we just got to put everything in there.
Because so is everything Marvel, but it's still full.
Not necessarily. Ant-Man Quantumania felt like...
But the background still had... Even though it wasn't...
yeah, but that's the empty, volume versus the green screen.
No, but I'm saying in the background, there were still swirls and there was whatever. It's like desert, plain sky, barely any clouds, whatever. The Transformers. Gray sky, gray background, gray floor. It's just like, there's nothing going on. At least, even though Ant-Man did feel empty, they made an effort to really try and feel like
they're build a world. Exactly.
Yeah, and no one's doing that now. They're like, oh, there's so much action going on, no one will notice. No, I'm noticing to the point of where I don't even know what action is happening.
To be fair, this movie has been, there's like 3 different versions of this movie that exist.
Yeah.
There's the DCU version initially, then it's, COVID's hitting, we have time to change some things, Zack Snyder's Justice League's coming out, let's put Henry Cavill back in it. And then it's DCU's ending. Let's cut out a bunch of shit and let's just like make it some kind of ending, even though it's really not swan song for the DCU. But it feels
nothing matters. Nothing matters.
Everything in the DCU has been a fucking mess from start to finish. It makes sense that this movie would be a mess, and they're like, yeah, you know what? No more.
Okay. I want to touch back on what you said earlier, which was Clooney. Clooney. Bat Nipples is back.
It leaked.
Did it?
That leaked a couple months ago. That I heard it. The only podcast I watched, The Weekly Planet. Plug.
Good podcast.
Great podcast. They had a leak. They had somebody like email them or something and was like, "Oh, George Clooney is in the finale, in the conclusion." And I was like, "There's no fucking way. That's somebody just like making up some shit just to put on for clicks."
It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't. But you know what does make sense?
The fact that he still drives the same car as Batfleck, because that's canon. That's a canon event that he buys that car.
Yeah.
Forever. In every universe, Batman owns that thing for product placement.
God, Batfleck has been so underused.
I'm going to miss him.
I'm going to miss him.
I'm going to miss him.
We talked about him a while ago. He's still the best suit. Still the best. What is it, Bruce Wayne or Batman?
Can we just...
What?
I want to say he is the best Batman, but I can't.
Because everything he's done
has not been a solo Bat film. He has not. Yes. How can you compare him to 6 other Batmen who have 2-3 movies of them developing their character, and in this you have him fighting 3 people all at the same time, where he's in just scenes that are set up to be toys and sell things over and over again, where he doesn't really have much. He's barely Bruce. Like, we got more Bruce in the new Batman movie than we did in every movie that he's been in so far. So it's... You can't say that he's
such a shame.
But he looks so good in the suits.
The new suit is so good.
I was disappointed.
Really?
You know why?
Why?
Because it didn't have the, see, more blue?
It was blue.
The blue and the gray was phenomenal.
Yes.
The only problem I didn't have with it is if you're going to do the blue and the gray, commit to it and give me the yellow logo again. But they couldn't because Michael Keaton was in it and they wanted to make that special.
That's right.
And it kind of ruined it. So they went for the suit, but they didn't. And I love the fact that it's just like, well, I'm not going to wear black because it's the middle of the day. So, like, why wear black? So, like, I'm going to have this and this and this, whatever. But that has always been his thing. He's Mr. Utility Belt. He's got an outfit. He's got whatever for everything.
And Batman has been very utilitarian.
And I love that because, like, especially, like...
You know what
I know when the... Sorry, it just made me really depressed.
I know.
Like, in the George Clooney one, when, you know, the Bat credit card and, like, everything. Like, it's so bad, but at least he had things.
It's to me, what sucks is... Because it's on the topic of you saying how we haven't gotten a lot of him as Batman.
Yeah.
There is so much little humor of like when the Flash and Aquaman interact, right? Because it happens on randomly on like Peacemaker.
Yeah.
Where he's like, oh.
They're the only ones.
I know. They're like, oh, did you really have sex with the fish? He goes, fuck you, Flash, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
At the end of this one, the post-credit scene, they're messing around and Aquaman's super drunk. In the beginning of the Flash, when he's like, I feel like I'm always cleaning up Batman's messes. They're talking to Alfred, and they're doing this whole funny discourse thing. There is so much chemistry if you just let this Justice League do its thing, but we haven't gotten the opportunity, and we never will.
No.
Because in Justice League, it's, dude, let's be serious. In Batman versus Superman, it's, we have to introduce them. In every other movie, they're just not fucking there. It's just like a 30-second scene.
You're right. If we got a Justice League movie that was just a Justice League animated film. Just, I don't know why everybody's got to be like, we'll take this, we'll take this, we'll take this, we'll take this. Those movies are good. Just make an adaptation for live action. Why does everything need to be bits and pieces of everything? You already own the rights. Just make it. You don't have to.
Yeah.
Like, and if you had that, you don't have to set anything up anymore. You like,
no,
just
like we know at this point.
Like,
you've seen it.
Yeah, just like Batman standing there. Diana walks up behind him. There's like 2-3 things, kind of like they did in this movie, where it actually kind of worked. It felt more Justice League. Just like there's this whole thing happening. It's just like, oh hey, what's going on?
Instead of it being like, I thought she was with you.
Yeah,
I thought she was with you.
Yeah, it's terrible.
If she shows up, she saves them, and she goes, "Hi boys, I'm here to clean up your mess. I'm gonna leave now." And they're like, and Barry Allen's like, "I've never had sex before."
That I didn't like that much. That was a little weird. It was really forced. I'm like, really? Like, the Batman's entire thing is that, like, no one knows any of these things, but, like, everyone kind of feels like it. And they did the same joke with Aquaman in the Justice League, where he sat on there and everything. And it's funny, but it's an easy joke.
Exactly.
It's not really great for that. And it's the lasso of truth. So you have to tell the truth. It doesn't make you blurt out your deepest, darkest secret just because you're touching.
But it was used better in this than it was in Justice.
Yes.
Where they're talking and Batman starts revealing his feelings.
But, like, the only way that Ezra Miller would say he never had sex before is if he was just in that moment thinking about having sex with Wonder Woman.
Yes.
Is the only reason why he would do that.
Which is probably the joke.
Probably, but why is Batman just touching? I have all these like feelings and I compensate. And
wasn't there like a joke in Justice League where the Flash fell on Wonder Woman's boob? He was like, "Oh my god!" And then yes, exactly. And then he passed out, and then he woke up, and then he did a zap, so he was standing up, like,
yeah.
I'm pretty sure Gal Gadot was like, "I'm not going to shoot. You're going to use a double."
Yeah, which is a little rude.
Is it rude? Kind of makes sense.
I mean, after seeing everything that he has done, I don't know if he's like that behind the scenes to where I get that. But yeah, it's a little rude. Like it's supposed to be some funny thing. Yes, I know there's like sexual. It's a sexual innuendo, but it's like it's not bad. It's not really like it's not like he's like fondling her. Like it's not like well, that's what Ezra Miller does, but. That's actually not what he got in trouble for, but you know what I mean? Like it wasn't something that was like terrible.
It just there is no good way around it.
No.
That's where we'll leave it.
Okay.
Okay, so in conclusion, The Flash, 1 to 10. I'm gonna give 8.5. Or you know what? 8. There's a lot of fun in there, but there's a lot of bad that will continue to wane on me.
I'm gonna give it 8.5 solely because the story it told, even though I saw it 10,000 times, it did it the best.
It did.
And as many problems as it has, I can't rate it much lower or any lower than Spider-Man. And I don't know what I would have given that Spider-Man originally, but I don't know if I've talked about it on here or not. But I was actually not a fan of that movie.
We did the tier list.
Yeah, it was
No Way Home is like a B tier movie.
It's fan service, but it's not actually a good movie.
We talked about when what's his name shows up and it's silent.
So this was fan service, but it did a better job of having an actual film involved,
and
like a story.
CG looked the best out of any.
It was really good.
It was scarily good.
Yeah. Anyway, it probably wasn't CG. Like it was CG, but
CG touch up. It was like
they just took something from the original film, and that's why
the 4K TikTok filter where they just enhanced the contrast.
Maybe I have no idea what that filter is.
Okay,
but I think that's what they did for a lot of it, which is why Nick Cage didn't look the best because they had to make all new footage.
Yeah, they had nothing to go off of except for like test footage.
Yeah,
and that's fine.
Still was cool though.
This has been the Flash review. Welcome to the new set. Welcome to the Anything Bowl. B for 5. We'll explain more in the main episode on Friday. Oh my God, Matt's not here to do an outro. You want to do the outro?
I don't know what he usually says, but
you do it. You plug the socials and shit.
Follow us on social media. Follow
us on Instagram,
YouTube. Do we got a
TikTok.
Twitter? Do we got anything like that?
We had a Twitter, but we don't like Twitter.
Okay, so don't follow Twitter.
We post YouTube videos, shorts. That's that.
Yeah, don't forget to hit subscribe and
hit subscribe.
Hit subscribe. Ring that bell. Like this video. Share with your friends. And
now let me tell you about.
Leave comments. Let us know what you liked
as we get into the nitty gritty. Yep, there it goes. Hold on. Good. Hold on. Gotta open up the dock. Hold on. Brendan, stall for me.
Do 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 do.
Hey.
Do 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 do.
Hey.
You're out of time.
It's loading. Okay, we've had a very rough and
very long day. So long.
Look at that. Google Docs doesn't want to take up the whole page, so we're just gonna look at it in a tiny corner. Okay, folks. So last week's movie review was Transformers: Rise of the Beast. We had a lot of fun. It was my most anticipated movie of the summer, and of course, it was a lot of fun, but it underwhelmed a little. Even though we enjoyed Optimus being a bloodthirsty murderer. After that, we did the ultimate Transformers tier list, where we ranked all the live-action movies, all the movies. From 86 cartoon up to Rise of the Beast, including Bumblebee and everything. We had a lot of fun with that. That was funny. Lastly, we did episode 58, Starfield, Assassin's Creed, and Matt is leaving us where we talk about the transition.
Just throw that in there.
It's complete. Well, that's...
Yeah.
I liked making the titles. It's fun. 58, we talked about a lot of games, because there was a ton of game announcements. We talked about some of the stuff that we had reviewed and watched, and we talked about the transition that the Anything Bowl is doing. You can tell from this alone.
It's different.
We built a set.
We did.
We built this set today. Twice, actually.
3 times, give or take.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Well, we've had a lot of fun. Coming up, folks, we have The Flash. We've got the DCEU tier list, the definitive one.
Yes.
Because there's going to be no more. And then we have episode 59 coming out on Friday. All right. Woo. So thank you. Check everything in the link in the description. My name is Miguel.
I'm Brendan.
Peace out.